Here we go. Welcome to TLOY Talks Episode 2 Podcast Edition. And you are now tuning in with Yashu, also known as Josh. As those you may know me either as Josh or Yashu in that sense like that. And today we're going to be talking about the top 15 Toronto and GTA rappers, male and female edition. So this is basically my afterthoughts and the thoughts of processing this and all that. And yeah, you're gonna hear like a lot of reverb, so don't get distracted. All right, so this is how it worked a while back. So back in like May, June-ish, I was trying to find some ways to create more content for the channel to make it more like a Toronto like media page and that stuff like that, since I am from Toronto and all that. And after learning from Sean Cotton's inspiration, so if you guys don't know who Sean Cotton is, or Sean Cotton, sorry about that, the fucking reverb. So if you don't know who Sean Cotton is, he is the founder of Say Cheese TV and who also conducts interviews, does like a lot of like media-based pages for promoting music in his city of Dallas, as well as like in other parts of the world too. So he is like a staple internationally. So he led the ground for paving the way for artists like Glock 9 and like TK to have like a media presence in that sense too. So what Sean Cotton usually does is that he makes like a top 15 rapper lists of each city and all that, sometimes male, sometimes female and all that. And I realized in Toronto, and especially like the media pages in Toronto and all that, they don't really like do stuff like that. So what can I do to stir the pot for a little bit? And I do realize that in like Toronto and all that, yeah, as I said, I apologize for the reverb. Like, just me doing it right now, it's just kind of like so like weird as hell. So just vibe with me, like regardless. So we have like a lot of Toronto-based media pages. We have Six Buzz, Real Toronto News, Keep 6 Solid, Toronto like top rappers list, Shade in the Six, We Love Hip Hop, and now this new guy named Rockboy Ninja and all that. And we have some other ones too, if you can consider it. Like I could say like DJ Snoopy. So, but yeah, no. So basically, I was the one. Like I noticed like a lot of them never actually made this type of stuff before, like a top 15 rapper list. If they even did like that. Yeah, the reverb is so crazy right now. So like they don't really do stuff like that. They've done like more like top tracks of the city, like which is your favorite track, all that type of stuff too, and all that. But I never realized they never did like a top rapper list in that sense. I remembered We Love Hip Hop Friday and I think PK Herc were discussing about a top 60 Toronto rapper list, and they didn't make it themselves. It was someone else who made it, but like they gave their thoughts on it and all that sense. So what better way for me to create more content is by doing this rapper list, And what's interesting about like Say Cheese's list is that he does this for the spring and the summer and the fall in the specific year that he did it in, and it was actually kind of unique as well because not a lot of people realize that list actually helped dictate how artists and rappers and musicians take their music more seriously, because like when they look at a list, they grind more harder to make better music and all that sense like that. So I decided to do it for the spring of 2021, which I did this list in May. I might do it in the summer. I don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, let's get on to it. So one of my biggest controversies, like when I posted the list on my IG page, Lens of Yashu, I did for both the males and the females. As far as the males, like what I noticed, there wasn't like a lot of traction because no one really noticed it in that sense too. But when I talked about the female list, it gained a lot of traction, and a lot of people liked it. Some people didn't like it, and then got all over Twitter and all that. So yeah, it speaks for itself, and yeah. I should also know that this is a female non-binary list. Yeah, the reverb's just messed up. I know how to say like non-binary. It's just the reverb's just like fucking it up for me. So I apologize for everyone who might get offended, but just bear with me. So one of the artists on the top 15 female non-binary list is non-binary, and that is number 2, Deja SB. Shout out to Deja SB. They're doing very well. Sorry about that. All right, let's start it off. So I'm gonna talk about number 1 on the list. So Tia Banks. So I think so. She's a Toronto-based female rapper from Scarborough, and she's actually doing quite well, like musically in that sense too. Like one of her songs, "Boss or Worker," has over like 100K streams on Spotify. She's been gaining a strong traction lately, like music wise. Like from her diss track to who, I think everyone knows, to that song too. And when you see the music video for Boss or Worker, it has like a lot of like clarity on it. Like it actually looks like a very well produced music video. And the way I did this list was that I talked about everything on that. So I'm just going to bring up the designation right now. So just give me a sec. So when I described it, so I said, read the caption, Toronto top 15 male and female rappers spring of 2021. It's based on productivity from March 2021 to May 2021. The productivity is based on streams, consistency, radio play, online live and performances, consistent growth, chart placements, street buzz, organic YouTube views, fan engagement, momentum, social media engagement, key features, blog placements, press, television placements, relevancy, and community involvement. And the way I designated the list is I looked at the people who actually did well musically on all aspects. We're not going to talk about YouTube. We're not going to talk about Six Buzz or anything like that. And not a lot of people understand this, because a lot of people will assume this is a top 15 rapper list based on bars and lyricism, and it's not actually that for this list. This is how well you did in spring, like last spring. So March 2021 to May 2021. Sorry about that. The reverb's just so crazy right now. But yeah, like as I said, Tia Banks, like if you like look at the streams and you look at everything like that, so I'm gonna just like bring up Boss or Worker. I'm just gonna type it off myself. I just don't wanna like bring it up. So it's sitting well right now at 89K views on like Spotify, not on Spotify, on YouTube, which is actually well for someone who's starting out. Like we don't have like a lot of artists doing stuff like that, and like when you just give me a sec right here. Sorry about that. Right now it's on 127, like over 127,000 streams right now on Spotify, which is actually like very good for an up and coming artist, And I do feel like she had more of a consistent growth than everyone else throughout the spring. This isn't like all time or anything like that, only in the spring. So, and I do feel that she held the crown tight. She had like a lot of placements around Young Dundas Square, like with her promotion of the song for Boss or Worker, which is very well for an up and coming artist too. So you have to give props to that, because not a lot of people can get those streams like that within like months. Some have to do it like within like a couple, like 6 months or 7 months to get those streams, unless you're like a very like popping artist. But yeah, like props to her in that sense. And then number 2 we're going to talk about is Deja SB. So Deja SB is a Toronto-based artist they're very they're very well known for their music in that sense. And so Deja dropped so Deja dropped a tape a while back, and it's called Head Above the Waters, which was doing well, like music wise, promotion wise, everything like that. Like it had like press placements, it had like a lot of consistent growth, unique features, and some songs like Throw That Back, New Harrison, it reached like over like 200,000 like streams. And people don't know who Deja SB is like streetwise, but when you hear her like more on the internet based sound, they're doing very like well regardless either way. So props to them. And they've worked with a Brazilian based artist, and they've had like well-rounded productions for other artists such as like Harrison and everyone else too. So you got to give props to that as well. And they actually have good press photos in that sense. So props to them. The next artist that I want to talk about is Ebony. So Ebony, she's like a very well-known artist in Toronto. One of her most biggest songs is "You and Op," which is actually like well done, very well. She has modeled for Rihanna. She has worked with a lot of artists from the States. She did some work in the States as well, and she has performed well live as well. And like the numbers don't lie, the streams don't lie. She's even like signed to Universal, which is like very big for her in that sense too. So back in like February, or I think back in March, she dropped her X EP. And as I said, it has like a lot of good streams, like with Hit This, All to Myself, X Ting, and you see a lot of growth, a lot of good energy from there, and just consistency. Like if you can keep up with streams like that too, like you're a very dope artist regardless. And like I can't even explain on the YouTube stuff too. Like she's doing well. Like Xting actually on YouTube has over like 360k streams, well, views actually, and then All to Myself and Hit This has like over like 140k streams. Ops, which is like sort of like my favorite song, even though it was released 3 years ago, it was still doing well with 55k streams. So you can't like deny that. And she knows her audience. She knows the sounds that she wants to work on, and she's molding herself to be a better artist each and every day. So you have to give props to her either way. So number 4 and number 5 is gonna be like very interesting. So if you know, so Taylor G and Killer T, they were in a Toronto-based female rap duo. I'm just gonna. Just give me a sec. Sorry, I'm just like on a vibe right now because of the reverb and all that. Let me just check. TNT lady, sorry. Sometimes like with the reverb and all that, and sometimes with the thinking, like it kind of gets like crazy because you have two sides of views to your head for a bit. But like their beef and drama, as well as their press coverage in We Love Hip Hop on IG Live, on everything else too. Like it's been doing well that spring than anything else too. Even though, and like they dropped two like diss tracks which did well music wise. So I think Taylor dropped Life's Good, I think, so which has like 33k streams, and then Killer T, Kill 'Em, Yellow Tape, 44k streams on YouTube, which is very well, and like their press and their involvement in the media and just like with their music, it's been going crazy throughout March. Well, from February until like April, May, which is like very interesting too. And I felt that they actually had a chance to grow independently from each other since they broke up. And I'm just only judging based on the music, not on the drama. But I think Taylor had a better diss track than Killer T, but both went in, did their thing, and showed a lot of growth from getting out of that group. And hopefully they do get back together in one eternity or another. But yeah, hopefully like with the right promotion, right team with them too. Like they could like reach bigger numbers like individually as well too. So number six I'm gonna talk about is Hawaii Mighty. So everyone knows who Hawaii Mighty is. Well known Brampton-based rapper, Brampton Toronto-based rapper. If you listen to, let me just check. Sorry. If you've listened to 13th Floor, that was like one of the best projects of all time. Like in Canada wise, you know, like from a Canadian artist, she won a Polaris Prize. She has worked with a lot of unique artists in the Toronto music scene and has done a lot, you know, media wise, community wise, and you know, just an all around good person, you know? Like if you saw Hawaii Mighty's commercial, so there was a commercial on DoorDash. So DoorDash, they did a cover of Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Ain't No Valley Low, yeah. That was like a Marvin Gaye and I think Diane. Let me check. Sorry. I know Marvin Gaye wrote that. So yeah, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. So they did that song. So Hawaii Mighty did a rendition of the song for the DoorDash commercial, and it's blowing up like regardless on TV. Like you could watch it anywhere in Canada, and you know, media, television coverage is like very important. Her doing the song on a nationwide level like put her on various highs, and she did it within like end of last year, beginning of this year, which I rated for it, you know, and her like vocal capabilities as well as her sound, like it led to a reason on why she is number six like throughout the spring. If 13th Floor was released this year, like she would have been at top regardless, you know, like just you know even with the promotion with everything like that. Even just her capabilities and strengths as an artist too, like you have to give props to that too. And yeah, give Hawaii Mighty your flowers because she did pave a way for a lot of like up and coming new artists too in that sense too. So yeah, what else? I don't want to talk about number seven like that or number eight or yeah, just you know what? Let's talk about number seven. So Chromas, you already know her, Toronto-based rapper, also known as the Backdoor Mommy and all that. So she released that later on in May, but I didn't really like capture that. She had a solid boss for a little bit. So here's the thing too. I know I got flack from this when I posted Chromas as number seven, but if I didn't post Chromas at all, this list would be invalid because when you think about artists popping throughout the year or even like without any year, you have to think about her regardless, you know, because in that sense too, she's not at the top because there still has to be a lot of like growth and improvement in her sound and in her energies and you know just within her positive press preferences and coverage, you know. But yeah, Backdoor Mommy, like that was like an interesting view for a bit. It would have been rated very differently, like in the summertime, if I were to plan on this again. But yeah, like as I said, like I know Chromas is not really the most like lyrically capable or even the most unique in that sense too. I don't want to say that she's trash. Like even for any artist, no artist is actually trash to be honest because every artist can have a bad album, but like no, you can't really define an artist as trash. It's more so the sound, the lyrics, and everything that they have. It's not tuned to be in the right way that they feel. I think like when you say that an artist is trash, you're literally saying that they can't make music for the rest of their lives or for anything like that. You know, we're gonna stop you from creating an opportunity for you to help your family and all that. Like even though they've had training, they've had you know freestyles that they did, they worked with you know mentors that helped them shape their sound. There can be an artist that can make bad records, but if you improve them in that sense with the right team, with the right coaching, with the right production, that's why Sweetie's in performance camp, I guess, like musical performance camp or something like that, to improve in her dancing and in her stage performances. That could be the same for Chromas if we're talking about lyricism within the sound, just to tune it for audiences to like it either way. So, and yeah, I think aside from Backdoor Mommy, Chromas didn't really release like any music like that nowadays. But she did gain a good presence, and the list would be invalid without her, because without Chromas, like, who would be another artist that can make it like that, like within media coverage, within social media promotion, and everything like that too. I want to get to number 11. So if you don't know who Plush is, like, definitely check her out. Very dope artist, very unique in various aspects. So she's very well known on social media within her TikToks, but she's also a rapper too. As I said, makes dope records. But one thing that actually like what made her on this list was her social media presence, her engagements, sort of like press coverage in a sense too, if we're talking about Toronto media-based pages and everything like that. But like, she's someone that we have to look into. I do feel like that Plush is someone that's gonna come up just like Tia Banks too, just like Deisha SB, just like Taylor G, just like Killer T. I think like with all those 5 artists too, since they're sort of new and up and coming, like, although like Deisha SB has been in the game for a while, like they've been in the game for a bit, like we could talk about Tia Banks, Taylor G, Killer T, and even Plush. Like, I do feel like with the right team, with the right sound, right promotion, and just right capabilities to making dope music, to engaging with fans, to engaging with their sound, they'll grow in the long way. Like, I definitely have high hopes for them too. And Plush, I do feel like she's a very unique artist too. She talked a lot about her Survivor story. She talked a lot about there's this one song she did where she used a SpongeBob type beat, and she made it very fun. Like, I don't like, sorry about that. It's just a reverb is so crazy right now. I'm sorry about that. She said, "I don't like perks. I sip penny when I twerk. New whip go skr," something like that. And you can't deny it's not a bad song. It's actually very unique too. Even like Legalized Happiness too, it has like a good vibe, very fast paced, very dope energy too. And some people will dismiss people like her, but she's actually a very unique artist. If you check out her music, if you see her growth, if you see her dope energies like that too. So yeah. Number 8, Cocanina. She had a very great time like last year, like with the release of her EP. She would have been higher for a bit too if it was like last year too, because I felt that was a very dope project that a lot of people should tune into. But like, since there wasn't like a lot of music that she dropped throughout that time, like throughout the spring of this year, there wasn't as much engagement like that. I know some artists, they do take breaks, but like, if you promote yourself quite well, like if you get people to view your sound, like, it'll be dope. Number 9, Keisha Fresh, who was also in the same group as Savai Mighty with the sorority. Very dope, all around lyricist, very great artist in general. Makes a lot of dope tunes either way. And one good thing that made her in this list was that she was actually in a TSN commercial promoting the first black female hockey player. And, she talked about it. She explained her history, her story within Black History Month. And that's someone that you'd have to, like, look out for, like someone like Keisha Fresh. She will definitely grow, like, in a long way, too. She will definitely be big. And props to her, because, like, good press equals good opportunities, like, when you look at people like Kavai Mighty, Keisha Fresh, and even other artists like Plush, who engage with the fans, who engage in press coverage, in gauging with TV and media. Sorry, my afterthoughts getting crazy because of this whole reverb type stuff. Like, you're gonna have to bear with me. But yeah, Keisha Fresh, they know how to connect with people. They know how to connect with opportunities because it could lead to working on podcasts. It could lead into doing skits. It could lead into doing commercials. It could lead into doing anything else too. And even with that dope energy, with the positivity that they give, the good coverage, like, it goes like a long way, you know. Number 10, someone that I realized has grown a lot and is really an impact in the Toronto music scene, Sydney, uh, West West End rapper, very well known community wise. If you see her around the community and around like on Twitter, like, she has like a very great impact. She has helped like a lot of people, and she has done like a lot of stuff too. And yeah, right, and we're back. So, speaking on number 10, Sydney, I've already like explained my parts too. Also, she has done like a lot of like events before in the past too. She's a well-known poet. Like, within her poetry, I've actually seen her perform a couple of times actually, and she brings a lot of dope energy. Knows how to creatively direct her videos well. Knows how to maintain her music and everything like that, and her impact is still strong. Like, literally for the spring, she had like a very good impact too. If we're talking like bars and lyrics, which will be a different story, I'll actually make a bars and lyrics edition soon. I know some people ask me, can you please do a bars and lyrics edition? I'll actually do that. And yeah, because I know like some people, they might be upset at this list, but I will make a bars and lyrics edition, so stay tuned for that. 12 to 15, I'm not really gonna explain much too, but all dope artists, like, all around. Like, I actually had to check out the music later on too, and they make very dope music too. I mean, Nessia, I actually do like her music, and I do feel like bars and lyricism, she is at the top. Even though it might not be shown at this list because it's the spring 2021 list. So, who had the impact within the spring, who was releasing music at the time, who was well known press wise around the time. I didn't see enough of that like within her throughout the spring. But all time, she's been doing like quite well musically with the lyrics, bars, and everything like that. Very dope spitter, great energy. Just has a unique tone and style to her sound, which is very amazing too. Goldie London, Lola Buns, Badass Book. I think because they came from a different era than mine. Like, I'm born in '96, but I didn't start like capturing on to Toronto music until like maybe 2015. I did listen to Toronto rappers back in the early 2010s, like Heartless G, not Vanali Stacks, Mr. Comfortable, who else? Honey Cocaine, all these other artists too. But I wasn't paying attention to the female artists like at the time too. And yeah, they came from a different era than what I've actually experienced because during the early 2010s to 2015s, they had the city on lock, and if they would have been top three all around, you know, because lyricism bars were very important at that time too. Like, the melodic sounds didn't really capture until like late 2013, early 2014, like when Esloke and Hypa did like the Honest song. But yeah, the reason why they're not as high, to be honest, either they didn't release a lot of like music within the spring, or it didn't gain as much traction as the other artists too. And a lot of like, I do want to actually explain this too. Nowadays with labels, like, they're searching for the next biggest artist, you know, based on sound, based on energy, based on everything like that, and how you market an artist too. Like, when you talk about like marketing an artist to like a label, or marketing an artist to be on a magazine and all that, you know, you have to look at which fan bases they will reach out to. And like if we talk about like a lot of like the artists like nowadays too, they have fan bases that can connect with too. So with people like Deja SB, Ebony, Hawaii Mighty, Keisha Fresh, they have like a multitude of fan bases and audiences that can capture their sounds. Middle-aged adults can listen to their music. Young hipster folks can listen to their music. People like in the alternative indie scenes will listen to their music. Hip hop purists will listen to their music. Professional music. I think reviewers and hobbyists will actually definitely check out the music and will like those sounds. Like with people like Tia Banks, Taylor G, Killer T, Chromas, Cocanina, like they already have like a solid fan base. They can connect with their female fan base, but they could connect with the hoodmans, the people like into female rap, everyone else too. Like even like the LGBTQ community, like they can reach out to them. I could also put Sydney in the same lane as Havaya, Keisha, and Deja because she does make that similar music too, but she also can connect with artists like from the hood and people from the West End and from other ends in Toronto that could actually vibe and listen to the music. Plush, well strong off TikTok, within social media and everything like that, and she can also make tracks for the hoodmans and everyone like that too. So she already has that fan base too. When we talk about like people like Goldie London, Nessia, Lola Buns, Badass Buck, I think like their fan base sound only goes into one direction, or like at least two directions, rather than like a multitude of directions. So to be honest, and this isn't like being disrespectful or just slandering their name. This is just the pure facts. The only people that I can actually see listen to the music, people from the hood, like people from the hood can vibe to it, and also females who like it too. But more of the hoodmans will actually like listen to the music too, and it's not a bad thing too. But if you're trying to market a sound that requires like a multitude of fan bases too, you have to know which songs will do well for that. So, and this isn't to judge anyone's fans or anything like that too, but it's knowing how you could do well, like fan base wise, and also who would their target audience be. Are you trying to get like a multitude of audiences? Are you trying to get your music onto Double XL? Are you trying to get your music into television, films, commercials? Are you trying to make music for the stadiums to play like during the game or during halftime? You have to think about it like that. Even for record labels too. So I'll use one example. So let's say an A&R or a very big like boss, well, not very big boss. Sorry about it. A well-known music executive from a top three record label. Sorry about the reverb. A top three record label from like the three major like companies, Sony, Universal, or Warner. Like all three of them, they come to Toronto. They try to find like the best like the best artists to sign to the label and all that. Some people will say like more of the artists that they should promote, like Odisha SB and Ebony, Atia Banks, Hawaii Mighty, and if they make music that could attract those labels, like that'll be good either way, because they know that hey, we can market this well. We don't have to worry about any of the consequences that can happen. It won't be like one dimensional or anything like that too. They could perform well at festivals. They could work with unique artists too. When we have artists, like let's say if we bring an artist like Bizloke, I'm just using Bizloke for example. So let's say we bring Bizloke to like a record label. So say Columbia Records wants to sign him, or Republic Records would want to sign him, and he does like the So Brooklyn freestyle or God, and he goes like, "I'm back, Crody," like something like that too. people in certain labels might take him, but like they'd have to mold his appearance and sound to make it palatable and marketable for various audiences too. Some labels would actually turn him down because, in their opinion, and this is just coming from people who know about the industry, who look at people who are signed in the industry and all that, like, he wouldn't be marketable to any audiences that would be appealable besides hoodmans and, you know, people listening to hood music too and all that, you know, and it can ruin their chances. And like, especially in Canada, like if you have a record, you can't travel to the States. You might travel to Europe, but you might travel to the States if you apply for a certain visa. But think about that too. Who would Bizlo collab with the most, honestly, you know? Like, we have to question, like, can we bring him to an indie artist that will do something random? Will he tolerate it? Will he rock with the vibe of the artist, you know? Or if we bring him to another hood artist, you know, will his sound be more palatable and relating to today's scene, or would we have to bring him to like a different era? So that's how I explain it for 12 to 15. I know that Goldie London and Lola Buns, they could make it out more with other fan bases and everything like that too. But like, this is just like one thing too. If you make music strictly for the hood or for only one audience or for only one sound too, and you really like want to be signed to a label, or if you really want to make it out of here and all that, you know, like, sometimes being in one sound isn't enough unless you could do it very well, and you could do it very well within various streams. I do feel like they have that. They are lyrical. They have the bars. They have the style, and they can adapt to new sounds and everything like that too. It's just, how would a label like designate these artists? Like, can they tolerate being with other artists that might be different, that might have a different vibe, or do we just put them in one lane only in that sense? But yeah, like if we're talking about lyrics, bars, and like sound, they'd be way high up. And to speak on the aftermath of this, a lot of good responses from people who did see the list. I've had some people not like the list in the sense too, but I actually, once one person from the page actually paged me not to be on the list too, and I said I can't just take someone's photo out unless I have the other copy too, and then I'd have to redo it all over again and repost it on the page. And if I take it down just by itself, people aren't gonna like it either way. But I mean, it is what it is, and I apologized if I ranked someone very low or ranked someone very high. This is my opinion too, and I think like this is like one of the major issues in Toronto. You know, like no one will, not no one. I wouldn't say no one. People will feel that when you give your opinion, you're dissing them or you're disrespecting them in that sense too, and they only want like positivity only, like positive opinions, nothing negative. And even in that sense, they don't want constructive feedback or constructive criticism and all that, you know. But I do feel like with constructive criticism, like, artists improve more taking that constructive criticism, from looking at lists, from looking at stuff like that. And you know, this list is my list. This isn't like any other list. This isn't like an official list. This wasn't like co-signed by Friday Ricky Dread or We Love Hip Hop or Six Buzz. This is from one average guy with at least 400 and something like followers, just giving his piece, who's testing out the waters. You know, if you don't like it, like, that's your opinion. If you like it, like, thank you if you do. But yeah, I truly respect and appreciate these artists who make these very dope sounds, who make music for everyone to tolerate, who are doing well. And you know, lists can change time and time too. You know, someone might not be in this list for the summertime. Someone might be a little bit higher. Someone might be like a little bit lower. You know, this isn't like, because the seasons change. So I could have a summer 2021 list, and I could put someone like Goldie London at number 2, or I could put someone like Chromaz at number 1. If you look at the growth and everything like that. But yeah, all right. But I know that it's not an all-time list. If it's an all-time list, Mishimi would be at number 1, and I think Goldie and Lola Buns at number 3. Because think about it, with Mishimi, she paved the way for Canadian rap music in general. She just paved the way for everyone to be in the game, for females to be in the game. She was kind of like the MC Light of Canada, like if you think about it, like she had like a very dope projects, and she has mentored like a lot of like younger acts in the game too. So yeah, I had this weird afterthought too because I listened to this like latest artist by the name of like Lady SB, who's sort of gaining like a lot of like unique attention too. She released one song. Hopefully she'll be on the summer list. Like there should be like some people that should be on the summer list too, and yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add another source right now. Just give me a sec. Bear with me here. All right, and we have the male list for spring 2021 because if I do the females, I'm gonna have to do the males too, or the female and non-binary because of Deja SB. So this happened to be in spring 2021, and yeah, like it's pretty like reasonable in that sense too. I also looked at radio too because I do feel like with the male acts too, they have more potential to be in the radio, to have the music being played. Surprisingly, Goldie London's song actually got played on Flow 93.5 a couple days ago. I checked it out, and I could actually rate her out higher since she has a radio placement now. So either way. But yeah, let's get started with the male acts too. I know some people might be upset, some people might not care, but number 1, Press, and it's very obvious that he's gonna be at number 1. He's working with big level artists in a relationship with one of the biggest female artists of this year, Coil Ray. But yeah, she's pretty dope. But yeah, Pressa Attachments was blowing up like crazy. The remix was blowing up like crazy. Strong social media presence, just an all-around dope artist. And he's pushed very well. I think Sony Music Canada is like actually pushing him to be like the next Drake someday. But he's gonna be the biggest press that he's gonna be. And I do feel like he's gonna have more opportunities too. Like even with this Gardner Express Deluxe, just dope sounds and dope energy. It's Doovie at number 2. Doovie is someone who I followed up last year. Like one of his songs, actually my most played songs throughout last year. You dig? I could play it someday, but I don't want to get like demonetized. But yeah, like he's doing well. He's getting a lot of features, working with a lot of big names, and just bringing out dope energy and dope sounds. And self-explanatory, like he's blowing up like crazy. He was sort of affiliated with Meek Mill or Young Thug at like one chance when he was in the States, and yeah. Number 3, Northside Benji. Even when people don't release music right now, they'll still have a very big impact. Worked with Heady One, still getting high streams, very like well-known social media engagements, and he didn't even lift a finger throughout that time. He just did everything he could to do well musically. Number 4, LB Spiffy. Although he dropped his tape like last year, it's still being played on the radio every day. Like that Again song's being played on the radio like every single day. He's still releasing music. He was recently on Six Buzz's tape, which is very dope as well. And number 5, we have Lil Barrett. Dropped Icebreaker 2 and the Icebreaker 2 Deluxe. Worked with like a lot of acts like Nave Smalls, Sada Baby, 2K Baby, and just an all around dope artist. Like I think he started to grow a lot too. Like just from the beginning to the end, even like with the negative press that he had before, like he's still consistent with music too. I know people might be mad at me for not adding such and such and such and such. If you know Pedro, we're just gonna call him Pedro Activated. He would have been on this list if he stayed away from jail and stayed away from the bullshit. But yeah, would you even put Pedro on the list? I don't even know, to be honest. Who else? The other guy, Pedro's friend, YG, or like, I'll just say YG in respect of Pressa and in respect of like Wasgang and all these other artists too. Although we didn't release music throughout the spring, I think he just kept a low profile too. Like, he would have been higher in other years too, but I think he wasn't like releasing as much music. Like, hopefully, if he does like release music, we'll put him there too. The reason, like, it's crazy too. I didn't put Killy on this list as well because I didn't really realize he was releasing music as much, but he will definitely be on the some list too because he did drop one dope tape, and Pyro was like a very like interesting song too. But yeah, some people might question me for number 6, but Swaggerite is the definition of an artist that's definitely on his grind 24/7, 365 days a year, and even 7 days a week. Yeah, so he dropped one dope project. Worked with like a lot of dope producers and a lot of dope acts. Has a unique style to his sound too, and I think he's definitely someone that could take his music to the next level too. I could definitely see him on Rolling Loud. I could definitely see him perform in music festivals, being commercial and television placements too. Just an all around dope dude. And yeah, like he has dope music to that people can like palette through and tolerate in that sense too. And it's actually very amazing, because he knows how to find the right sound, to find the right melodies and the good energies too. So yeah, his Western Road freestyle is like also dope too. He can open up into many situations as well, and that's very unique about it. 7 to 9, we have Michael Jordan, also known as Mula First. So Mula First, well-known media-wise, he dropped very great freestyles. Knows how to manage social media-wise, has great engagements, has been doing like very good press lately with the Michael Jordan brand, and hopefully he can get Tony Kukoc by his side, or like even like a Dennis Rodman or a Scottie Pippen. But like enough with the Bulls references. I do feel like Mula First is a very dope lyricist and has a good ear for beats. He even performed at like some freestyle, I think some live performance, like not like with fans, but like a virtual live performance, and that was pretty dope too. Number 8, we have the Shawarma Man, also known as Roadrunner. It's crazy. I actually liked Roadrunner's project. Like I did feel like once he got out of his legal troubles, he just was focused on music like 24/7 and just kept on with it, like dropped a dope tape, got as much press coverage, worked with like a lot of other artists too, and managed to stay consistent throughout the spring, and you have to shout him out for that too. You also have number 9, Slim De Niro, also known as Mr. 905, and I get the 9 is a good reference because 905, Mr. 905. But yeah, like he dropped this dope project in the spring. Really liked it. I felt like it was like an improvement from all his other projects too. And I do feel like he's someone to blow up next. Like if we're talking about the Americas, like if we're talking about Europe, I do feel like people will tune into his sound easily too. And we have number 10, bricks for the low, bricks for the low. Sorry about that, the reverb. I'll just do it again. Bricks for the low, bricks for the low. So BFR Bundog, or also known as Bundog. Although he didn't drop as much music as I thought, bricks for the low, probably like one of the most catchiest songs in Toronto, that from a Toronto artist from a while, and just an all-around unique person in that sense too. He gives like a lot of good advice. He talks about wanting to take his music and his brand and his career to the next level, and I could definitely see someone like that being on the big screen too. Like if you can stay consistent, stay out of the light, like rumors. Sorry about that, technical difficulties. But yeah, with him being Pressa's brother too, like I do feel like both him and Pressa are like the yin to the yang in terms of brotherhood, in terms of music and everything like that too. And I do feel like he'll definitely blow up within years to come. I'm just gonna say it for 11, 12, and 14. Toby, he did drop some music too. He worked with like Maxo Cream, he worked with Flo Milli, and everyone else too. He was also promoting his free therapy promotion that he was doing for a bit too, and it was like well known in academics. And he also won a Juno for his latest project, even though I could have put him on for the summertime too. But yeah, he's a very overall a dope artist, so definitely check him out. Pillar B dropped a very dope EP too. You definitely have to tune it in on Spotify or Apple Music too. What I liked about Pillar B, he was actually one of my most listened to artists throughout last year, like throughout the pandemic, throughout everything else too. I do feel that he knows how to market himself well. With a record label that he has, like, people will actually enjoy it. And yeah, I do feel like he could take on bigger opportunities. Like, he could be in commercials, he could be in TV shows too. And I do feel like that's someone who's going to blow up, like, within years to come too. So, and quite different from everyone else on the list too, just he's not afraid to think outside the box, to get out of his comfort zone too. Like, he could do something very like out of place and make it as twice as amazing as it is. Dylan Ponders, he did drop music last year too, but his music was being played on the radio like at certain times too. Like, I think with the help of producer Eva Shaw, like, it helped him get his music to the next level too. And it wouldn't make sense if he's not on this list. And then 13 and 15. 13, I actually really appreciated in that sense too, and I actually really liked was Bandcamp, or Little Bandcamp. So he dropped the Welcome to Bandcamp mixtape, a very dope mixtape produced by Robin Rhodes. And I do feel like with the right promotion, with the right team, and with everyone else too, he will definitely blow up like crazy. Tissy Stacks, he wasn't making as much music for a while, but he managed to get one of his songs on the radio, like I think in the US radio too. But I don't know if he confirmed it or not, but his vocals and his sound was there, so yeah. And let's talk about the people who were not on the list too. So I've had people, as I said, this is a spring 2021 list, not a bars or lyricism like type list. So yeah, you don't see a lot of like the unique artists that come from by like Bizloke or Casper or Pedro or YG, because some either really don't care about releasing music at certain times too, or they've had other situations where the music was like very impacting in that sense too. Some people recommended me Bert LePlug and also who else? Claremont II and some guy named Terrell. Claremont II I actually do know too. Yeah, we used to go to fellowship together too, but it's been a while. But shout out to him too. I do feel like in certain times he would be on a top 15 list of all time based on bars or lyricism, or like if you were to drop a project and it gained as much traction. Like let's say if you dropped some of his projects like last year or the year before. For I made this list last year or the year before, he would definitely be on this list too. Bird the Plug, someone recommended me his tape, liked it. I just didn't have the time to put it on this like spring 2021 list, but I can make him an honorary 16th, to be honest. So yeah, but yeah, that's kind of it for my list. And yeah, but yeah, like I do feel that I will try to make a top 15 list based on bars and lyricism, and for the summer 2021 too. I do feel like I could add new additions to the list for the summer 2021 list, because there were some artists that actually blew up like crazy as well too, and hopefully we can. Sorry, but hopefully it might be different for other artists too. I think Northside Benji just dropped a new song too. Who else? Paris, who's also affiliated with Mula First and Palabi, he's been blowing up like crazy as well too. You have what YT and Paco, who has been doing well musically. Who else? Uh, yeah, I mean, comment whoever you want on this list too, and well, not on this list, but on the summer 2021 list too, and I'll check out their stuff and make it up. Since this is like a weird podcast for me because this is just me explaining the stuff going on, like, I guess farewell and see you next time.